Shlomo, hi, this is Elke with Abunde Bashmayo in Prescott, Arizona. Today I wanted to tell you about this book. It's called Blüte der Seele, or Blossom of the Soul. It actually is in Syriac and German. And I wanted to share with you because I had forgotten I had this book. It was sitting right back here in my shelf. And today I was talking to my dear friend, Shamshono Johann Sauci from Gießen, Germany. And he reminded me that I had that book on my shelf. And the reason why I wanted to share it with you, and I'll read in English to you what it says, because it speaks about the prayers that we have during our 40-day Lent fast. So let me read this to you. On the prayer times during Great Lent and their ceremony in churches and monasteries is the title. Prayer during Great Lent, that is the 40-day Lent, and during the Nineveh fast, differs from the prayers of ordinary days of a regular year. At least in churches and monasteries, the morning and midday prayers are taken from the Fenkitho or Husoyo books of Lent, respectively. The evening prayer consists solely of the protection prayer, that is, a hymn specific to the day, including the intercession of Mor Ephraim. Throughout Lent, the Holy Eucharist is celebrated exclusively on Saturdays and Sundays. Exceptions are the Wednesday, which is celebrated as the Mid-Lent, and the Friday of the 40th day of Lent. The Feast of the Annunciation would and could also be celebrated every day, meaning a liturgical celebration would take place, because it represents the foundation or basis of all our feast days. Commemorations of martyrs and saints, however, would be postponed to the following Sunday or Saturday. Furthermore, weddings as well as baptisms should not be performed during Lent unless there is an urgent emergency. From Monday at the beginning of Lent until Friday, the 40th day of Lent, after the evening prayer, which already takes place at noon, 40 prostrations are performed following the profession of faith, the Nicene Creed. When praying the threefold Holy art thou, O God, one also prostrates before making the sign of the cross. It should be noted that, strictly speaking, the latter prostrations are also performed on ordinary days, with the exception of the 50 days following the resurrection of Christ, as well as Sundays and holy days. However, it has become customary for the majority of believers to associate prostrating only with the Great Lent, which is why it would be appropriate to encourage an effort to at least maintain this tradition. So there you have it. That was what this passage says from this book, The Blossom of the Soul. Again, I'm not sure it exists in a similar form in English, but I thought the content was important enough for me to share that with you. And I want to say thank you again to my dear friend Shamshono and Malfono Johann Sauci in Gießen, Germany, who pointed out that I actually had access to this great wealth of knowledge. So thanks and bye.